That is such a shame. And in another disturbing case, a visiting Chinese scholar at the University of Illinois has now been missing for nearly a month. And authorities fear the worst and presume that she is dead. This morning, 28-year-old Brent Christensen, who's a former PhD student researcher, is due in court, and he is facing charges of kidnapping 26-year-old Ying Zhang. She was last seen on June 9th. But what type of case do the authorities have? Our legal panel is here, Attorney Jasmine Rand and Prosecutor Wendy Patrick. Welcome to you both. Wendy, this is so disturbing. I mean, apparently authorities have surveillance video. They say that she was going to get a rental check and missed the bus, and the surveillance video shows her going into Christensen's Saturn Astra. Is there enough evidence then to make that type of case against him, Wendy?
Yeah, Eric, I'll tell you, there's no emergency that's too important to justify getting into a stranger's car. But I got to tell you, this is also a case that demonstrates you just don't know everything you need to about someone unless you've seen their Google browser history. Because here, what this man's history showed is time spent on a fetish website researching how to commit an abduction. So that kind of fixation reveals motivation, which gives context to the surveillance footage of her getting into his car. And then also remember, Eric, this is both research and crime, and also cover-up, because what investigators found is a thorough cleaning of the passenger side of that car, and then on top of everything else, this is all corroborated by his own statements last week, which led to his arrest, where he basically admitted committing the crime. Well,
I mean, Jasmine, do you think that, so you can get DNA evidence perhaps from the front seat if there is any, but what about those internet searches? There's this website that Wendy referred to is called, what, Abduction 101? Who are they? And I mean, how do they have this stuff on the web?
So it's called, from my research, it's called FetLife. They compare themselves to a Facebook or some other form of social media website, except this website is for people with, I guess, some type of sexual fetishes. When I took a look this morning, it does show that they have nearly 6 million followers. So there's 6 million people out there, whether that's Americans or worldwide, following this website. To me, this case really calls into question freedom of speech and freedom of association. As Americans, we all appreciate and know that it's fundamental to every democracy to have freedom of speech. But how much freedom of speech do we have? Do we have the freedom to have these websites that may or may not be inciting violence and inciting crime? And that's when we really start to cross the line. Freedom of speech is not an unfettered right, and it has to be balanced against other rights, like the right to life and the right this young woman had to her bodily integrity.
Well, you know, a defense attorney will say he's presumed innocent, of course, under the Constitution. And Wendy, I mean, you know, defense argument would be like, it's, you know, fantasy side, it's nothing in reality that he carried out.
Well, you know, sometimes, Eric, we look at and Jasmine makes some good points about, well, really, where's the balance? It's provocation plus predisposition. Those are the two things that really give us a good idea as to who is going to look at sites like this and get ideas to actually carry out these fantasies. Very, very dangerous. And what this man basically did is he was doing that research, but remember, all of the context surrounding what he did, including his own statements, lend credibility to the fact pattern as we know it thus far, that he did commit this crime. And I'll point out, Eric and Jasmine, that's all we know already, but remember that they don't want to compromise the investigation by telling us everything they already possess. The fact that they said they believe she's already dead obviously leads us to believe there's more there, and there may be more charges forthcoming.
That's an interesting point. And finally, Jasmine, I mean, what do you think will happen? Murder charges, potentially?
I mean, that's the way that it's looking to me, and I think that this website could be key in determining exactly what type of murder he's charged with. For example, if there's direct messaging with the host or with other persons on this site, we may be able to show that he actually committed premeditated murder, which is first-degree murder. It may show us some insight as to whether or not this was a hate crime. Did he do this because this woman was Asian? Did he do it because she was a woman? And that could lead to some heightened charges as well. Well,
you know, as Wendy said at the outset of this segment, remember when we tell our kids stranger danger? She apparently got into this car not knowing him, so that's something, no matter how old you are, you've got to be careful of. Jasmine and Wendy, a sad, disturbing case. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.